Welcome to Within You, the podcast. This is where you and I explore the unknown, that scary, dark place that is the liminal space as we navigate between this and what's next. Yo soy Viviana Carrasco. I am so happy to be in your ear right now. I call myself a wisdom teacher, a mindset mentor, and a transformational guide. I'm physically based in Fort Worth, Texas, and I am so excited to be with you today. The practice for this month is creative expression. If I were to summarize the beginning episode of March in one word, it was create. And the reason it is create, and the reason that this is the practice that I'm suggesting that you explore for this growth period, this emergence of you, is because I believe that we verb through our nouns. We verb, we do, we move through our roles. And turning towards our creativity, our ability to create, taps us into the part of us that is the most human. Almost 6 years ago, I had my near-death experience that sort of threw me into this world of not just moving through the transformation myself, because I had gotten to the end of that journey, even though it's not the end of transformation. It was like the end of a really big one. And I learned from it. And now I'm offering teachings and frameworks and tools to help you and I as we move through more transformations. Back then, in October of 2013, there was this divine whisper to share love being human. And over the course of that period of time, I have learned with you, alongside with you, in Within University, which is the online learning community that I am so grateful to host, so honored to guide you through in journeys of discovery, where I focus on awareness-based change. I have unfolded love being human. Love is self-discovery. It is experiential knowledge. Because we don't know ourselves. We don't know who we are. We don't know who we're becoming. We don't even know what we want. So love is first. Loving ourselves, being kind and compassionate to the shift and change that is happening within us. Being is that embodied practice, like the practice I'm offering you here today. Your ability to create. Your invitation is creative expression. It's going to be particular to you and your season. This is just my favorite for this season. For the emergence period, as you move, as you verb through your nouns, my favorite one is creative expression, but I give you so much room within that creative expression. So I'm so excited to get into that with you, because that is the part of us that is most human, is our creative expression. So creativity is actually the 80% of human and love being human. The other 20% is recognizing the processes of being human, of being in the body, right? Like confirmation bias, like needing sleep, like having emotions, like telling ourselves stories. That is all part of the experience of being in the body. And that is totally different than not being in the body. So when I was hit by a car and sort of left my body for a little bit in 2014 in April, the thing that I took away most from that experience is that in the body, as we're being human, right? Like what I'm doing now, I'm using words to create an experience with you. It is like the gift that we have because we're human. We get to create. And what I want to do in this episode is draw a picture for you, is tell you a few stories that help you see that there is creative potential within you and that it is the key to your growth. So opening to the flow of creativity renews your imagination, your curiosity. It builds your courage. This is typically what I get asked. How can I be more confident at A or B? Open to the flow of creativity. Be curious. Light a fire under your imagination, and it will build your courage and you will become confident. This is the other thing that I've recognized when clients would come to me for coaching and they would say they wanted this unshakable confidence, this peace, that's what they were craving. For the first few years, I really didn't think it was possible. And I doubted that. And now, 4 years into it, I actually remember that getting to that place of unshakable confidence, of pure peace, is actually how I move through my most difficult moments. An experience that's coming to mind is when my guys were young. They might have been 8 and 12 because they're 4 years apart. We were in the middle of a hurricane and our power had gone out and the winds were just crazy outside. The trees were literally, I remember them, the wind was taking them down to the ground and then back up. And I was so scared that they would break. The wind would come through the windows. There was lots of immediate and present fear in front of me. Even in that afraidness, because I was there, I don't know where David was. He was probably deployed. I was there with the guys by myself. I recognized the situation. I took measures that were available to me, filling the bathtub, moving away from the windows, And then I took us into a space where I lit candles and we played a game and we invested in each other. We shared an experience with each other. We took refuge in relationship, and we do that as humans. So that is the way on the outside that we move through this transformation on the inside. You have, like I said in the previous episode, the power to create. You do that in partnership with others and with your better self. And I'm inviting you to pick up a project and allow that creative potential within you to let you emerge into your new self, into that better self, into that identity that you have been craving, seeing, envisioning. And before you pick up a project, I want to identify something. You might be telling yourself, but I'm not the creative type. I'm not the kind of person that can paint or draw or dance. And I want to call bullshit on that story. I believe everyone is creative. I believe it so much. It is literally the foundation of my teachings. Love being human. Your humanity is in your ability to create. It is in your ability to hold a pencil and write words. In your ability to speak words and tell a story, to share an experience with another person. I believe it so much, and it is so close to my core values that right now in this moment, I am the host of Creative Mornings Fort Worth, where literally the mantra is everyone is creative. I also believe in inclusion, so their second part of that is and everyone is welcome. So if you're in Funkytown, if you're in Fort Worth, if you're ever in Fort Worth, please look Creative Mornings up and join us at our next event, whether it's virtually or in person. Creative Mornings is a beautiful initiative that is now 10 years strong and circles the globe. So if you're looking for an experience that'll welcome you into your own creativity and maybe get you around those other creative types, then look up Creative Mornings and rediscover what you already have. Rediscover that creative potential within you, because it is the key to your personal growth. Your creative energy is both a precious resource and a critical tool, because your creativity moves you forward. Like I said in the previous episode, we verb through our nouns. It is the way that we progress. So I'm inviting you to establish a personal practice, a spiritual practice, something that is consistent, that helps you build a pattern and a routine around creating so that you can build the courage inside of you to get better at a craft. Now, creativity isn't about getting something done or doing it right or even being good at anything. Creativity is literally, and this comes from a real life example, being able to look at a blank canvas and not be stopped in your tracks because you don't know exactly what's going to happen at the other end. A personal practice. It's a spiritual practice in allowing yourself to co-create, splashing paint on that blank canvas and then co-creating something from it, determining what you want from life rather than letting life just give you what comes. being in that position of partnership with yourself, of power in your choice, by just picking up projects that help you create. I think one of the things that's really super interesting for me is that this is one of the ways that I move through my own personal transformation. And I wanted to share with you some of the ways that I made space for me to explore creativity. One of the really fun ways that I did that is I explored a thing called Blackout Poetry, where there was a book. I love books. I don't like tearing them apart and writing in them as much, but Blackout Poetry really gave me the space to do that. So it's just blacking out words so that the story that's there gets edited into a different story, which is technically what we do when we transform our story. We tell a better story. We tell a different story. We learn a new story. So Blackout Poetry was one of the ways that I allowed myself to put things together in a generative way that was interesting to me. Another way that you may experience creativity is maybe in song, maybe in dance through movement. You may want to experience creativity in a different way. Another thing that I did is I created a chaplet, a personal chaplet. And the reason that I created a personal chaplet, and if you and I ever meet in person, you might notice it on my left arm. It's one of the few pieces of jewelry that I almost always wear. I needed routine in my transformation, and prayer allowed me to have that sort of foundation of routine. The chaplet actually was a reminder to me that I was co-creating. It was a reminder to me that I was in partnership with my higher self, that I wasn't in this in this scary time by myself. And I remember in the early periods of that transformation, I actually would take those beads and sort of circle them, maybe under my desk or while I was sitting, and begin to pray as my spiritual practice, as my personal practice. So your way that you move into creative expression is specific to you and to your season. These are just things that I'm sharing with you that I went through. As you figure out what's right for you, allow yourself to start easy and to do something that is fun. Notice your body, notice your reaction, not your mind, not what your mind is telling you, but notice your body. This is a really fun time to sort of start to distinguish between the voice of, I can't do this, I'm afraid, and the body feeling excited that you're creating something that you've never created before. It's super interesting to distinguish the difference between that. So my invitation right now is just for you to find a way for you to experience creativity. Look at what comes to you that you feel curious about, that you want to do just for the sake of doing it. For a really long period of time, I actually felt called to paint hearts, to bring hearts into my life. And this was just a way that I was expressing myself, just for the sake of expressing it. And then it turned into gifts that I would give people, my graduations and birthdays. And then it turned into things that people started to ask me or commissioned me to paint for them with specific colors, with specific meaning, with specific intention. It was such a beautiful journey to move through, to just do it for the sake of expression, to give it away in pure love and giving to other people, and then to be asked to create, to be asked to commission them for others. It was just this beautiful full circle experience. So I invite you to journey through that same kind of thing in your own way. Ask yourself what you're curious about. Maybe revisit a joy that you had in your youth or as a kid. Let yourself start with something that's easy. Start with something that's fun. The practice for March is just to create, to try new things, because creativity flourishes in our liminal times. When we go through disruptions, springs of innovation start to appear. We start to begin to crave creative outlets. So just let that turning towards creativity help you create yourself anew. First we shed, we let go, we purge, we have chaos, and then we allow. We wander, we walk about, and it gives us meaning. So participate in the act of creating yourself anew. Participate in your own self-expression. Rewrite your story. through that creativity, maybe in your journal, let it be physical if it wants to be. Let it be dancing, let it be walking. Create new ways to move. I know for me, in the beginning, creating a new way to move, allowing it to be physical, for me was my journey through yoga and moving through teacher training. It's almost like yoga, the development of my physical practice, allowed me to create myself anew. It helped me to build a routine, because for me, it might be the same with you, it might not be. I needed a routine. I needed something that gave me stability as I moved through my transformation. You may need that same stability, that same routine, or you may want to explore. You may want to go into a playground, or you may want to learn. All of these things move together, but for me, I remember that my creating anew was physical at first. So if you think that you are a fixed trait, that's just not how we work. We grow. We continuously grow. Building your creativity, allowing yourself to see things differently, to be creative in your mindset is so critical. It is so critical that if you feel like you're having a tough time, I actually host these things that I call metanoia method sessions. They're just really short coaching conversations. If you'd like to explore that, then visit viviancarrasco.me/metanoia. You can also find that by going to my website, viviancarrasco.com, clicking on the mentoring tab, then give me one-to-one support. Just click on the schedule button and it'll link you to the metanoia sessions. Send me an email if this was not easy to follow, vivian@viviancarrasco.com, and I'll send you a link where you can schedule a metanoia method session free of charge, no money, just an investment of your time. It would be my honor if you trusted me to guide you through exploring what your creative expression can be, exploring how you can create something new. Where are you being invited to participate in the act of creating yourself new through self-expression, either in your voice, in your writing, in your movement? It can be absolutely anything, but it is so important that I am gifting you my time, my attention, as long as you're willing to invest in exploring, creating something new. It has been my honor to be with you today in the Within You podcast. And what I'd like to do is, in addition to inviting you into the metanoia method sessions, if journeying together with a community is something that's interesting to you, if looking at the interior of your life and your creative expression is something that is just blowing your mind with yeses, then I want to invite you to go through journeys of discovery, through learning journeys, through tailored workshop experiences that I custom design for my community every season in Within University. It's this beautiful mix of personal development, spiritual growth, and shared discovery. Because there's only so much you can do on your own. In Within University, we learn new things together. It's where we become aware together. Within University is where we become better together. So if that's something that's interesting to you, you can find that on my website, or you can actually just visit www.withinuniversity.com. It has been such an honor to be with you. Thank you for allowing me to be in your ear and to offer you these tidbits, these tools, these invitations as you move through your own personal transformation. I look forward to our next time together. May you be well.